Alright, it's on. Um, Good afternoon, Matt and Dem. Um, today, I just finished my lecture, you see, and I got told by a mate of mine that 10 minutes before, this beautiful report, made lovingly by Sue Gray, had come out, um, albeit it's half completed since the police are investigating the juiciest stuff. But today, we'll be going into I'll be trying to go through what I can before half past, and at half past, um, I have I've also prepared. Boris Johnson, you see, is expected to host an announcement. If it turns out well, he could resign. Um, well, it could mean a variety of things, really. He did. So yeah, let's go through this. Page essentially black. Right, an introduction. So basically, if you don't know what the entire situation, number 10, not just Boris Johnson, but number 10, uh, down in Downing Street, and the Tories have been caught with a widespread of parties over the last year, whilst we were all locked up in our houses, um, having possibly doing nothing about it. Whilst we were forced to abide by the laws these guys have made up, these guys are just partying around like a bunch of animals. Um, I'm sorry, guys, I just can't contain my excitement. So, firstly, on the 8th of December, last year or this year? Oh well. The Prime Minister asked the Cabinet Secretary to carry out an investigation into allegations reported in the media relating to gatherings in number 10 Downing Street. That's how all of this started, because some allegations about a number of parties have popped up. That's how this all happened. Later on the 17th, the Cabinet Secretary rescued himself from the investigation as a result of allegations concerning an online quiz held by his private office in the cabinet in 70 Whitehall. And from here on, Sue Gray has written up and completed the half report. Terms of reference for the investigation were published on the 9th. This is just, this report just outlines what's true, what's false, what's a rumor, all of that. In line with these terms of reference, there were a number of these parties that were alleged. The first of which being on the 15th of May 2020, with a photograph showing a number of Tories in the garden of 10 Downing Street. It says groups, but in all fairness, it's just a bunch of Tories, isn't it? On the 20th of May, a gathering in the garden of number 10, again, was held. This specific one, Boris Johnson went to for about 25 minutes and claimed that he thought he was at a work event. To which, he's lied, really. Again, this time we moved to Whitehall on the 18th of June. There was a gathering in the Cabinet office on the departure of a number 10 private secretary. I can't remember who it was, but they all, most of I think this one, or on the 19th, they went to uh, a Tory went to the co-op, bought a lot of alcohol from there, stuffed it all in a suitcase and took it back to either Whitehall or Number 10, allegedly. Um, one day later, there was a gathering in the cabinet room for the Prime Minister's birthday. 13th, then we move ahead to the 13th of November, where there was a gathering, there was two gatherings in Downing Street, one in a flat and the other on the departure of a special advisor. Um, you get the story. 27th, yes, there was a party. 10th, there was a party. 15th, there was a Christmas quiz. 17th, party. 18th, party. 14th, party. 16th of April, party. When's it gonna stop, man? When's it gonna stop? Boris Johnson, come on, man. How are you not accepting responsibility for these? And on one of these gatherings, I think it was a day after that Prince Philip sadly departed this world. One day after, the Tory MPs threw a party while the Queen of England, abided by the lockdown rules. What an embarrassment. That's all I'm saying. What else? Then you have the reasons for this. As such, reasons explaining why this report is carried out. Most of it's just public interest, widespread public interest. In High Wycombe, where I'm from, Steve Baker, the MP from there, has, I believe he said that the anger of his constituents are 60-1 in terms of with the one being supporting Johnson and the 60 being against. It's that level of messed up. And literally one day before the report came out, the Met stepped in. The Met stepped in, seized half of the report, and Sue Gray was forced to water it down. Poor her. Because some of the stuff there was sensitive. Some of the stuff there was really sensitive to the investigations going on. And so that's why it's referred to as a half report instead of a full report. So what they've done, what they have confirmed, is that they are investigating the 15th of May, the 27th of November, the 10th and 15th of December. And on the basis of the information available, the gatherings on these 4 dates are not considered to have reached the threshold for criminal investigation. So these 4, we can clown Boris Johnson for effectively. No conclusions should be drawn or inferences made from this other than it's now for the police to consider the relevant material. The worst the police could give the MPs are fines. Cheap for them because they make what? High 5-figure salaries a year, some 6. There should be nothing for them, quite frankly. Yeah, that's just all they're getting sanctioned, but it's their own constituents' reputation. It's their reputation that's taken a hit. And at the request of the police, I've provided the material compiled in course of my investigation. Bro, why not risk arrest? Why not risk arrest? And just to get the full gory details out in full. I've also been asked to retain all the other information collected in the course of this work. I will therefore ensure the secure storage and safekeeping of the information gathered until necessary, really. Uh, I will not be circulating the information internally within government. Nah, it's fine. You don't need to. Keir Starmer's already done that several times. In fact, most of the shadow cabinet has. And they have told me it would only be appropriate to make minimal reference to the gatherings on the dates they are investigating. So, yes, we can roast some of the. How many of these are not marked? 15, 20, 15. So this is being investigated. This is being investigated. I think this is. These two aren't. This is. I don't think this is. So, yeah, we can still clown on them for what's true, but until the police have let go of not let go. Why did I say let go? Until the police have finished investigating this, we may not be able to see the rest of this. I say it's a half report. It's more of a 40% report. In respect of the gatherings that the Met have assessed as not reaching the threshold for criminal investigation, they have not requested any limitations to be placed on the description of those events. However, I've decided not to publish factual accounts. Right. So what Sue's saying here is that she just wants to balance everything out. So that she's trying to remain neutral, really. Um, the problem is, why would you try and save the Prime Minister? Look at him. His trim's deader than his rule in Britain. Anyway, more generally, I did consider whether it would be better to pause as provided for the terms of reference and wait until the conclusion. Well, I'm glad you didn't, because the public would have roasted you for it, quite frankly. To avoid further delay, I'm providing an update on the investigation and I'm setting out some general findings now. I've not made comment on whether individual gatherings were in line with the relevant guidance and regulations. Just leave it to the police. Context, in simple terms, it's the pandemic. It's these parties were done during lockdown from the COVID-19 pandemic. And these guys are just breaking the laws. And it's not just the parties. Boris Johnson was also seen cycling in shorts and a polo shirt all around London, East London, I believe, in the morning when he himself told everyone to stay inside. Matt Hancock as well has done this same thing, probably. This is just context for all of you non-UK people that watch my channel. General findings. So this is the juicy stuff, I think. Against the ban, I'm doing this blind, so I don't even know what's coming next. Against the backdrop of the pandemic, when the government was asking citizens to make some of their biggest sacrifices that they will ever do in their lives, some of the behaviour surrounding these parties is difficult to justify. Hold on. Let me see. PM statement coming up. Hold on.
if it has, as a result of some of the things that have emerged to do with the Downing Street parties, in particular the initial findings from Sue Gray today. I'm joined now by Patterson, who's one of the many business owners here in Hartlepool. Now, first of all, Lucy, I just want to get your thoughts on the fact that Sue Gray has blamed a failure of leadership for allowing parties to take place in Downing Street during lockdown. What do you make of the Prime Minister's leadership and what this reflects?
Well, I think the easiest way for me to sort of make sense of any of this is that as part of Flourish Unlimited, I lead a team and a community.
And just to clarify, that's your company, your florist.
Yes. But I lead a team and a community of small business owners. They allow me to lead them because I do that with integrity and with empathy. And I think they're the two kind of founding principles for any leader, whether you are leading a business, leading just your family even, but to lead a company and to lead the government,
they can't go unnoticed.
Then I think that the lack of integrity, the lack of empathy that is shown at this stage is absolutely appalling.
Now, some Conservatives and supporters of the Prime Minister would argue that he has apologised.
I would say that he has said he is sorry, but that he has actually accepted his part of what has happened. So he's apologised that we've misunderstood a situation, he's apologised for the actions of others, but it's about time that he apologised for his wrongdoing within this.
Now, Hartlepool, as I mentioned, swung to the Conservatives back in the by-election. Do you think that the reasons people had for voting for him back then will carry them through to continue?
Pumping out.
I think that there's probably a lot of people still in Hartlepool that will continue to vote Conservative off the back of that. But this was a Brexit town, and that is the reason that the majority of people then voted Conservative. And I think that what we've seen happen through the pandemic is that much scandal, that many lies, that we're kind of all a little bit aware now as to it's harsh, but we've maybe been made much of to a certain extent, and so people are now questioning whether they made the right choice or not.
They called out the alcohol.
Well, that's just one view of one person, and I'll be speaking to lots of people in this town here who'll be feeling strong thoughts about what's come out today. But obviously, we're going to be hearing
not appropriate in a professional workplace at any time. Steps must be taken to ensure that every government
because I think everybody wants to hear what Boris Johnson is going to say about what Sue Gray has reported. And again, these are just the interim findings, the partial report, if you like, while the Met continues its investigation. We now know the Met is investigating 12 gatherings out of 16 that Sue Gray has listed today. Let's go back to Nick Eardley, who is in Parliament. Nick, have you managed to catch any more Conservative MPs on their way into the Commons?
Victoria, I think the big question they're going to have over the next hour or so is how Boris Johnson is going to address some of the serious allegations that are
in all fairness, I can see why they use the Garden.
The various allegations of a failure of leadership in Downing Street and in the Cabinet Office. Also, the fact that the Met are now looking into events that Boris Johnson is said to have been at, and one in particular that took place in the number 10 flat. There's a lot riding on this statement over the next hour. I know we don't have the full findings from Sue Gray, and there is still that Met investigation to take place.
But why?
But there are many Tory MPs who are waiting to see how Boris Johnson reacts to this report before deciding what to do next. There are some who are unhappy with his leadership, unhappy with his handling of the last few weeks, and if he doesn't address this over the next hour in the Commons, it's possible that there might be some Tory MPs who call for him to go. We won't know that until after the statement. I would expect to hear from the Prime Minister something more of an apology. As you can see, it's a pretty packed Commons.
It's probably an apology.
I'd expect to hear some more of an apology
more
from
an
Boris
apology
Johnson.
than a resignation.
Also,
Again, we
some
could be
talk
lucky
of how
if we
he
get a
will address
resignation
the
notice.
culture, perhaps even staffing issues in number 10 over
And
the
if you
next
lied
few
to the
months. He's
government,
just walked into the
you're
Commons
expected to
just
resign.
now. A lot of this will be, as well as
If
what
you lied to the
opposition
Queen
MPs
back
say,
in the day,
it will be about how
you'd have your head
Boris
cut
Johnson's
off
backbenchers
in the Tower of
react.
London.
Do they think that this is damning of the Prime Minister, enough for them to call for him to go? There are some who think this might not be as bad as it could have been because certain events have been left out at the request of the Met Police. But I think we can cross to the Commons now, where Boris Johnson is about to give his reaction to Sue Gray's report. First of all, let's hear from the Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle.
I'm through the Prime Minister may wish a little longer as well at the beginning. I now come to the statement. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Oh boy.
Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I would like to make a statement. And first, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Sue Gray and all the people who have contributed to this report, which I have placed in the library of this House and which the government has published in full today for everyone to read. I will address its findings in this statement, but firstly, I want to say sorry. And I'm sorry.
No, you're sorry for being caught.
We simply didn't get right, and also sorry for the way that this matter has been handled. And it's no use saying that this or that was within the rules, and it's no use saying that people were working hard. This pandemic was hard for everyone. We asked people across this country to make the most extraordinary sacrifices, not to meet loved ones, not to visit relatives before they died. And I understand the anger that people feel. But, Mr. Speaker, it isn't enough to say sorry. This is a moment when we must look at ourselves in the mirror and we must learn.
Come on, come on.
And while the Metropolitan Police must yet complete their investigation, and that means there are no details of specific events in Sue Gray's report, I, of course, accept Sue Gray's general findings in full. And above all, her recommendation that we must learn from these events and act now. With respect to the events under police investigation, she says, and I quote, "No conclusions should be drawn or inferences made from this other than it is now for the police to consider the relevant material in relation to those incidents." But more broadly, she finds that there is significant learning to be drawn from these events, which must be addressed immediately across government. This does not need to wait for the police investigations to be concluded. That is why we are making changes now to the way Downing Street and the Cabinet Office run, so that we can get on with the job that I was elected to do, Mr. Speaker, and the job that this government was elected to do. First, it is time to sort out what Sue Gray rightly calls the fragmented and complicated leadership structures of Downing Street, which she says have not evolved sufficiently to meet the demands of the expansion of Number 10. And we will do that, including by creating an Office of the Prime Minister with a permanent secretary to lead Number 10.
What?
Second, Mr. Speaker, it is clear from Sue Gray's report that it is time not just to review the Civil Service and Special Advisor codes.
Oh, come on, resign already.
Wherever necessary, to ensure that they take account of Sue Gray's recommendations, but also to make sure that those codes are properly enforced. And third, I will be saying more in the coming days about the steps we will take to improve the Number 10 operation.
No, the only step you need to take is go.
To strengthen cabinet government and to improve the vital connection between Number 10 and Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I get it and I will fix it. And I want to say...
No! Go! Please! No one likes you.
I want to say to the people of this country, I know what the issue is. Yes, Mr. Speaker, yes. Yes, it's whether this government can be trusted to deliver. And I say, Mr. Speaker, yes, we can be trusted. Yes, we can be trusted to deliver. We said that we would get Brexit done, Mr. Speaker, and we did. And we're setting up free ports around the whole United Kingdom. I've been to one of them today, which is creating tens of thousands of new jobs, Mr. Speaker. We said we would get this country
stop dodging the question.
We did. We delivered the fastest vaccine rollout in Europe and the fastest booster program of any major economy, so that we've been able to restore people's freedoms faster than any comparable economy. And at the same time, we've been cutting crime by 14%, building 40 new hospitals, and rolling out gigabit broadband, Mr. Speaker, and delivering all the promises of our 2019 agenda, so that we have the fastest economic growth of the G7. We have shown that we have done things that people thought were impossible.
Isn't just the only thing worrying us, it's the economy
and that we can deliver for the British people. Mr. Speaker, I remind the benches opposite.
Please,
the reason we're coming out of COVID so fast is at least partly because we doubled the speed of the booster rollout. And I can tell the House and this country that we are going to bring the same energy and commitment to getting on with the job, to delivering for the British people, and to our mission to unite and level up across this country, Mr. Speaker, and I commend this statement to the House.
I now call Keir Starmer the Leader of the Opposition.
Hey!
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank Sue Gray for the diligence and professionalism with which she's carried out her work. It's no fault of hers that she's only been able to produce an update today, not the full report. The Prime Minister repeatedly assured the House that the guidance was followed and the rules were followed. But we now know that 12 cases have reached the threshold for criminal investigation.
12!
Which, I remind the House, means that there is evidence of serious and flagrant breaches of lockdown, including the party on the 20th of May 2020, which we know the Prime Minister attended, and the party on the 13th of November 2020 in the Prime Minister's flat. There can be no doubt that the Prime Minister himself is now subject to criminal investigation. The Prime Minister must keep
He's shaking his head! He's shaking his head, look at this clown.
When it is available. But it is already clear that the report discloses the most damning conclusion possible.
We live in a world.
Over the last 2 years, the British public have been asked to make the most heart-wrenching sacrifices. A collective trauma.
We live in a country where our leader is now subject to 12 separate criminal investigations. We are finished, Mandem. We are finished.
And revelations about the Prime Minister's behaviour have forced us all to rethink and relive those darkest moments. Many have been overcome by rage, by grief, and even guilt. Guilt that because they stuck to the law, they did not see their parents one last time. Guilt that because they didn't bend the rules, their children went months without seeing friends. Guilt that because they did as they were asked, they didn't go and visit lonely relatives.
Remember that Marcus Rashford?
But people shouldn't feel guilty. They should feel pride in themselves and their country, because by abiding by those rules, they've saved the lives of people they will probably never meet. They have shown the deep public spirit and the love and respect for others that has always characterised this nation at its best. Our national story about COVID is one of a people
Look at his face. Look at him.
But that will be forever tainted by the behaviour of this Conservative Prime Minister. By routinely breaking the rules he set, the Prime Minister took us all for fools. He held people sacrificing contempt. He showed himself unfit for office. His desperate denials since he was exposed have only made matters worse. Rather than come clean, every step of the way, he's insulted the public's intelligence. And now he's finally fallen back on his usual excuse. It's everybody's fault but his. They go, he stays. Even now, he is hiding behind a police investigation into criminality, into his home and his office. Mr. Speaker, he gleefully treats what should be a mark of shame as a welcome shield. But, Prime Minister, the British public aren't fools. They never believed a word of it. They think the Prime Minister should do the decent thing and resign. Of course he won't, because he is a man without shame. And just as he has done throughout his life, he's damaged everyone and everything around him along the way.
You've got to credit him, though. He's got
his colleagues have spent weeks defending the indefensible,
courage
touring
to not
the
resign.
TV studios, parroting his absurd
But that's the only thing I can give him,
degrading themselves
quite
and
frankly.
their offices, fraying the bond of trust between the government
Office of the Prime Minister to be created. What will that do?
From my neighbours. Kirsten.
Fraying the bond of trust between the government and the public, eroding our democracy and the rule of law. Margaret Thatcher once said, "The first duty of government is to uphold the law. If it tries to bob
from Maggie
and
Thatcher of
and
all
duck
people,
around that
you're getting
duty when
scolded.
it's inconvenient, then so will the governed." Mr. Speaker, to govern this country is an honour, not a birthright. It is an act of service to the British people, not the keys to a court to parade to your friends. It requires honesty, integrity and moral authority. I can't tell you how many times people have said to me that this Prime Minister's lack of integrity is somehow priced in, that his behaviour and character don't matter. I have never accepted that, and I never will accept that. Whatever your politics, whichever party you vote for, honesty and decency matters. Our great democracy depends on it, and cherishing and nurturing British democracy is what it means to be patriotic. There are members opposite who know that, and they know the Prime Minister is incapable of it. The question
even the
they
Tories
must now
hate
ask
him,
themselves is, what are they going to do about it? They can heap their reputations, the reputation of their party, the reputation of this country on the bonfire that is his leadership. Or they can spare the country from a Prime Minister totally unworthy of his responsibilities. It is their duty to do so. They know better than anyone how unsuitable he is for high office. Many of them knew in their hearts that we would inevitably come to this one day. And they know that as night follows day, continuing his leadership will mean further misconduct, cover-up and deceit.
And lies.
It is only they that can end this farce. The eyes of the country are upon them. They will be judged by the decisions they take now.
Prime Minister. Well, Mr. Speaker, there's a reason why he said absolutely nothing about the report that was presented by this government and later put in the library of the House earlier on today. That is because, Mr. Speaker, the report does absolutely nothing to substantiate the tissue of nonsense he has just spoken. Absolutely nothing.
Shut up,
Instead,
please.
Mr. Speaker, this leader of the opposition, a former Director of Public Prosecutions, Mr. Speaker, he spent most of his time prosecuting journalists and failing to prosecute Jimmy Savile, as far as I can make out, Mr. Speaker. He, Mr. Speaker, chose to use this moment. He used this moment, Mr. Speaker, continually to prejudge a police inquiry. That's what he chose to do. He's reached his conclusions about it. I'm not going to reach any conclusions, and he would be entirely wrong to do so. And I direct him again, Mr. Speaker, to what Sue Gray says in her report about the conclusions that can be drawn from her inquiry about what the police may or may not do. Now, Mr. Speaker, I have complete confidence in the police, and I hope that they will be allowed simply to get on with their job. And I don't propose to offer.
You're just saying I have complete confidence in the police so that they can defend you, you corrupt scumbag.
That what I think the country, with greatest respect to the benches opposite, what I think the country wants us all in this House to focus on is the issues that matter to them. And getting on, Mr. Speaker, with taking this country forward. And Mr. Speaker, today we have delivered yet more Brexit freedoms with a new free port.
Okay,
as I said, when he voted 48 times to take this country back into the EU. Mr. Speaker, we have the most open society, most open economy. Mr. Speaker, this is, I think, what people want us to focus on. We have the most open society, most open economy in Europe because of the vaccine rollout, because of the booster rollout.
The vaccine rollout doesn't do anything to the economy.
He voted to keep us in the European Medicines Agency, which would have made that impossible. And today, Mr. Speaker, we are standing together with our NATO allies against the potential aggression of Vladimir Putin when he wanted, not so long ago, to install a Prime Minister, a Labour leader who would actually have abolished NATO, Mr. Speaker. That's that's what he believes in. Those are his priorities. Well,
this is just on about the beginning of World War III, really.
Opportunism. We are going to get on, and I am going to get on with the job.
Quiet. Theresa May.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The COVID regulations impose significant restrictions on the freedoms of members of the public. They had a right to expect their Prime Minister to have read the rules, to understand the meaning of the rules, and indeed those around him to have done so too, and to set an example in following those rules. What the Gray report does show is that Number 10 Downing Street was not observing the regulations they had imposed on members of the public. So either my right honourable friend had not read the rules, or didn't understand what
right honourable friend, more like right honourable
or they didn't
idiot.
think the rules applied to Number 10. Which was it?
Imbecile.
My right honourable friend.
Uproar.
It's a very important question. I want to hear the answer, even if other people don't. Prime Minister.
No, Mr. Speaker, that is not what the Gray report says.
Oh, shut up!
But if she, I suggest that she waits to see the conclusion of the inquiry.
I now come to the leader of the SNP, Ian Blackford.
Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I say it's a pleasure to follow the former Prime Minister, and perhaps her behaviour in office, like many that went before her, was about dignity, about the importance of the office.
Ian Blackford is just relentless against Johnson for context.
Would be well advised to focus on those that have not dishonoured the office like he has done. Mr. Speaker, we stand here today faced with the systematic decimation of public trust in government and the institutions of the state, and at its heart,
what we should really do is abolish the bi-party system completely and just have
by the police. So here we have it.
Just unify the entire thing.
Sue Gray report. What
not like the CCP, but
it was carefully engineered
bring back
to
democracy.
A fact-finding exercise.
Where's the democracy?
With no conclusions. Now we find it's a fact-finding exercise with no facts. So let's talk facts. The Prime Minister has told the House that all guidance was completely followed. There was no party. COVID rules were followed and that. I believed it was a work event. Nobody believed them then. And nobody believes you now, Prime Minister. That is the crux. No ifs, no buts. He has willfully misled Parliament. It's bad enough.
Order! Inadvertent misled the House will be acceptable. Misled the House is not acceptable. Withdraw inadvertent.
The Prime Minister inadvertently told the House on the 8th of December that no parties had taken place and then had to admit that they had. It's bad enough, Mr. Speaker, that the Prime Minister's personal integrity is in the ditch, but this murky business is tainting everything around it. It is our intention to submit a motion instructing the Prime Minister to publish the Gray report in full. Will the Prime Minister obey an instruction by this House to publish as required? Mr. Speaker, amidst allegations of blackmail by Tory whips, the members opposite have been defending the indefensible. Wait for the report, we were told.
Now we've got to wait again.
And it tells us very little, except it does state that there were failures of leadership and judgment by different parts of Number 10. It states that some events should not have been allowed to take place.
In the first place.
That is the Prime Minister's responsibility. If there is any honour in public life, then he would resign. Where is this? And he laughs. And the Prime Minister laughs.
Is he?
We ought to remind ourselves in this House that 150,000 plus of our citizens have lost their lives. Family members that couldn't be with them. And that is the sight that people will remember. A Prime Minister laughing at our public. I extend the hand of friendship to all those that have sacrificed. I certainly do not extend the hand of friendship to the Prime Minister, who is no friend of mine. Where is the shame? Where is the dignity?
Look at him! Look at him!
Will drag on and on. Every moment the Prime Minister stays, trust in government and the rule of law is ebbing away. The litany of rule breaking, the culture of contempt, the utter disdain for the anguish felt by the public who have sacrificed so much. What the public see is a man who has debased the office of Prime Minister, shrinked responsibility, dogged accountability and blamed his staff at every turn, presided over sleaze and corruption and tainted the very institutions of the state. In short, Mr. Speaker, this is a man. Well, they can laugh, but the public know. The public know this is a man they can no longer trust. He has been investigated by the police. He misled the House. He must
now it's safe to assume that everything he says is a lie.
Mr. Speaker, I gave the evidence of the 8th of December.
Order. You're going to have to withdraw misled.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has misled the House.
Unless you withdraw, I'll have to stop, and that's not good. Just withdraw the words.
I am standing up for my constituents that know that this Prime Minister has lied and misled the House.
Give me the paper. Give me the paper. Inadvertently misled. I'll give you one more chance. As leader of the SNP, I don't want to have to throw you out. I'm going to give you this chance. Please.
Please to power. That man has misled the House.
Out he goes.
Shut up. I'm sorry it's come to this, and I'm sorry that the leader of the party has not got the decency to just withdraw those words in order that this debate can be represented by all political leaders. Would you like to inadvertently?
Speaker, if the Prime Minister has inadvertently misled the House, then I will state that.
Right, we're going to leave it at that. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful to the Right Honourable Gentleman for withdrawing what he just said, because he was wrong then, and
he's not.
He, I'm afraid, is wrong in his analysis. And I apologise, as I've said, for all the suffering that people have had throughout this pandemic, and
right. Let's continue this then.
About
since
what has taken place,
it's just going to boring debate. Let's finish this.
The Right Honourable Gentleman.
Some staff wanted to raise concerns about behaviours they witnessed at work, but at times felt unable to do.
Can I just say, I take it the Honourable Member asked.
There we go. Oh, that's just oh dearie me, that's blackmail. That's blackmail. Indeed. 20 months? The number of staff in number 10 has increased. Yeah, we don't care about that. Yes, we know it's complicated. The 20. Oh, right. The parties. The parties, not the entire investigation. Number of these gatherings should not be allowed to take place. These does not need to waste. This is the bit they quoted in Parliament. So we have the annex, the timeline of regulations, and the investigations, which is yeah. So this is just the key thing to take away today. Bojo bad. He should go. He should go without a doubt. And so should those that defend the undefendable and blackmail those who stand against him. It's just not democratic in the slightest, which is what the UK was known for. It's just not right to us, to everyone. It's not right that we're living under a corrupt government where the police are defending the Prime Minister inadvertently for as long as possible until they conclude their investigations. What the Prime Minister could have began his redemption arc by leaving today, yet he chose to sit there, head bowed down, laughing, smiling. That is just that in my world that is life imprisonment. It's just Bojo's boat. Anyway, Bojo's Bojo. He's a bit of a party animal. And I firmly believe that what he's done is not right. It's never right to host a gathering like that under a crisis like this. I had to suffer. I had to sit through and suffer the fact that my A levels would be forever changed because I'm now dubbed a pandemic kid. Not just my year, the year above and the year below as well, by the looks of it. And he stomped on our lives. I firmly believe we should stomp on what's left of his dignity. Well, guys, I'm glad you somehow made it to the end of the video. This was a wild ride. And we've covered everything. I've covered everything on the situation so far, how everything's unfolded, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If there's an updated Sue Gray report, I will cover that as well, gladly. I will gladly cover that. Alright. See ya.